Seriously, let's normalize the confusion. That it's okay to be confused as hell and not knowing what the hell we're doing in our lives. If you're 25 and you feel like you're failing at life, your brain is working perfectly. The quarter life crisis isn't a personal breakdown. Actually, it's a developmental stage that 75% of us go through. And those who don't, they are behind in psychological growth. Hi, I'm Justina, I'm 27, and I'm about to prove you that your existential meltdown is the evidence that you're actually evolving right on schedule. 2 months ago, on my birthday, when I was turning 27, I had this moment that I thought that when I will be finally 27, I will be such an adult. I will have a stable job, I will have a house, I will have a married life, I will have kids, and I thought that people that are 27 are just having everything figured out. I bet that you know that feeling. I also remember that my mom at my age, she was waiting for her first child. She was already married and she was in a process of buying her first property. Meanwhile, I'm still figuring out what to eat for dinner and how people make so many creative recipes because I'm getting bored of food every single day. But here's what I discovered in occupational psychology, that feeling behind in your mid-20s isn't a sign of failure. It's a generational reality. And the science behind why this happens will blow your mind. Your brain doesn't stop developing until you're 25. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision making, impulse control, and long-term planning, is literally under construction until your mid-20s. So if you're feeling like you can't make a decision or stick to your plan, it's not because you're immature and you're still childish. It's literally because the part responsible for that is just developing and you're learning how to use all those skills, all this new software that is being under construction. But here's the plot twist that changes everything about how to see this quarter life crisis. It's literally the time when your brain is forcing you to finally become authentic self. Authentic you. Find your inner identity and stick to it rather than following the script that was enforced on you by your parents or by your school or by the society. So think about it this way. The childhood gives you one identity, but your 20s gives you an identity where you actually can decide who you want to be. You're deciding. And that's supposed to be chaotic because you're making decisions, you're learning as you go, and you're discovering what's for you. And I hate that society has been lying to you and me about what our 20s supposed to look like. And I'm sure that you know this scenario. The narrative goes, graduate, find a career, find your person, buy a property, and have figured out everything by 30. And the plan is literally to have a linear progression, no confusion, no setbacks, no challenges, no nothing. Like perfect plan. One progression after another, which we all know that life just doesn't look this way. Like, is it even realistic to have everything work out for you just the way you want? I mean, if you're this person, that I think you are lucky, but in my case, everything, absolutely everything I wanted went the other way around. And I'm grateful for it, but my planning just didn't work out in my 20s. So for me and for many others, this timeline is completely unrealistic and made up. And I think psychologically really damaging because a lot of people just cannot make it work. And then they feel all the time that they are too late. Like they are late for absolutely everything. That, oh, I should have done this much, much earlier. And you can't even enjoy your 20s at all because you feel like you are behind all your life. You feel like you are a failure and you're not meeting those milestones. And when you do, you're not celebrating it as they should be celebrated, but more as something that like, yeah, I should have done it like 5 years ago, but I'm glad that I've done them now, or whatever. Let's move on to the next. And it just doesn't give a justice to the life that we have. And you need to also have few reality checks. Why the approach that your parents or grandparents had doesn't work necessarily nowadays, a quarter life crisis worldwide. Because first, your parents were finding their career in literally the world when like 50 jobs existed. And nowadays, you're choosing from thousands of jobs, not only local jobs, but also worldwide. And those jobs really didn't exist at your parents' age. So it was much easier for them to just pick something from 50 job options. Like, come on. The reality check number 2 is that previous generations had already predetermined life and career paths by geography, family, or social class. And nowadays you have infinite options, zero roadmap. You can go in absolutely every direction you can across the world. Like nothing is a limit, like even sky is not a limit. And this gives us so much choice that it can even lead to paralysis. You don't even know in what direction you can go because there is so many directions to choose from. And it is not a weakness, it is a natural response for us for a new situation. We just don't know what to do because the advice that we're hearing from our parents and grandparents are just so inadequate that this is not a good guidance. So we have to figure it out on our own, what to do next. And then reality check number 3 is social media. Social media that is showing us all the highlights of absolutely every single person out there. And then we compare our struggles with everyone's successes on social media, and we feel like we're doing something wrong. Like we're clearly doing something wrong because we don't have so many successes and so many amazing holidays and traveling all the time and enjoying your job every single day. So we feel like we just have it all figured out wrong. But here's what nobody tells you about the quarter life crisis. The quarter life crisis serves 3 psychological purposes that are essential for your and mine healthy development. Purpose 1 is identity exploration. Your brain is trying different versions of you and trying to figure out where you fit or where your brain wants to fit. You're trying different clothes, you're trying different behaviors, you're trying different environments or countries or people, everything. Trying to figure out what you like the best and in what setting you feel the most authentic. When I was younger, every single day I wanted to become somebody else. Today I wanted to be a florist. Tomorrow I wanted to be an astronaut. The next days I wanted to be just a, dietitian and a lawyer and a doctor. Absolutely everyone. And on top of that, I was experimenting with clothes, maybe more floral things, maybe all black just to have it easier to choose the clothes, or maybe trying to figure out what the hairstyle suits me the most. I bet all the women know that feeling when every single week you just want to do something else with your hair. When you cut it, you regret later on that you had such a long hair and what have I done. But when you have too long hair, then you just want to do something, do a fringe or maybe trim your hair a little bit or maybe change the color during the summer, maybe a little bit more blonde or rainbow. Like you can see how you can spiral, like just me, so easily. Purpose 2 is a values clarification, trying to figure out what you actually care about and what somebody told you to care about. For example, in my family, they were telling me that education is everything, that degree is everything. And I was discovering that even with all the degrees, I'm not getting the things I want and I'm not getting the satisfaction I want. And for me, more valuable is providing a value for other people or just speaking up about my knowledge. Do I need a paper for it? Maybe if I want to, but it's not necessarily. And this requires dismantling your old beliefs, which might feel like you're losing yourself, but it's actually you're trying to find yourself, your new self. And then the last, third purpose is resilience building. Navigating all those uncertainties in your 20s is building an extreme resilience that you will need to navigate the rest of your life. There is probably no other time like in your 20s when you do everything that is so new to you. You're learning so much. You're starting a new career. You're just graduated. You might have your first relationships or buying properties or travels. You're discovering the world. You're learning so much. And it might be challenging, probably. Of course, it will be challenging extremely because these are your firsts and you are being literally thrown into deep waters. But whatever you're learning is a psychological flexibility that you will need for the rest of your life to thrive later on. So it might feel like you're falling behind because this didn't work out and that didn't work out and that just hit you out of nowhere and you felt like it's going to be all sugar-coated, rainbowy and beautiful, but it just isn't. But it teaches you so much and it is like building a mental muscle. In my 20s, just like you, I felt that I'm going to graduate, I'm going to find a career, and from now on I will progress linearly until I get my future perfect role and I will just live happier ever after. But unfortunately, after my university, I couldn't find the job in my industry. So I just took whatever. I was miserable for years until I decided to move countries, which was extremely uncomfortable just to leave my slightly comfortable and boring job in London and move across the countries. Like, who does that? For what? To work in a totally different industry that I wasn't even interested in? But I felt like, whatever. My future self would probably regret me not doing it. So I might as well try, and if it doesn't work out, I can always come back to London to my boring and half comfortable job, right? And that was actually life-changing for me. That job was a step back and was a challenge. I still question why I've done this. It was crucial for me to then come to the place that I am currently in the job that I'm currently working, in the mental space that I currently have. I know so much more about myself, about my values, and I feel so much stronger that I can move across the countries and it's not a problem. And that setback or that challenge or just a sudden change of industry wasn't something that took me back. It actually accelerated the whole process of my discovery and getting where I really wanted. But here's the breakthrough that changed everything for me. These are 3 insights that changed my crisis into my superpower. Insight 1 is that confusion is a clarity in a disguise. When you feel lost, your brain is actually actively processing a massive amount of information in order to find the best solution for you. And this discomfort is growth happening in real time. This discomfort is needed for your brain to finally stop holding on to your comfort zone and start discovering what is out there, because there is more options out there. I used to think that clarity is having 10-year plan. And don't get me wrong, I still have my general 10-20-year plan because I believe that if you don't have a map, you will not get where you want. So I want to have like a slight idea where I'm going. But for me now, clarity is really being honest about what you want to do definitely right now, and whether whatever you're doing right now is in alignment of who you want to be later on, but also trusting that future or you in the future will handle future problems. And then you will focus on the future, not now. The insight 2 is that imposter syndrome is normal. You can be ambitious and confused. I felt that because I'm ambitious and I know what I can offer. I will never struggle with imposter syndrome, and I couldn't be more wrong. You can be professional and still figuring things out. And probably you should be, because the moment you get the job, there is no way that you know 100% all the time what to do, that you are certain about your choices and you're always right. You can be successful and still be uncertain about your next step, because that's just literally an essence of life, that it is uncertain and it is unpredictable. And these aren't contradictions, they just show how complex we are as human beings, and also the life that we created, how complex it is. Like, look at me. I'm a psychologist, and I still sometimes Google what makes a psychologist a true psychologist. Despite degrees, a vast work experience, working across 3 countries, I still sometimes feel like I know nothing about life. And both of those things can be true. And then my favorite insight 3 is that your timeline is exactly that, your timeline. Some people are just born that they know what they want when they are 5, when they are 10, when they are 20. And some people just are discovering for the whole life what they want to do. And all of those paths are valid. The pressure to have everything figured out by the age of 25 or 30, it's literally social programming, not psychological necessity. Here's what I wish somebody had told me at 25 or even earlier, because of course, as a 15-year-old girl, I was making my 10-year plan, future plan, so maybe even earlier. The quarter-life crisis isn't a problem to solve. It's a process to trust. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, questioning what you're doing, experimenting, exploring options, literally building foundations for the rest of your life. And that anxiety you feel, that's literally your psyche taking its job seriously. You're not behind, you're not broken. You're literally in the process of discovering who you want to be, and you're in the process of becoming that person. If you're in the middle of your quarter life crisis, comment down below one thing that you're questioning right now about your life. Seriously, let's normalize the confusion. That it's okay to be confused as hell and not knowing what the hell we're doing in our lives. We're living for the first time. So it's only natural that we just don't know what the hell we're doing. We don't have the instructions how this works. And when we ask other generations, they give us the inadequate advice that doesn't work any longer. And if you want more psychological insights about how to navigate your 20s, but also optimize your life and feel amazing, long-lasting fulfillment and satisfaction in your workplace, and not only your workplace, don't forget to subscribe and check out my previous videos. And I'll see you in the next video.